Good evening, everyone. It is April 23rd, 2023. I will try to make this video as short as I can. However, there is quite a bit to talk about, so let's get right into it. Starting off with the ES. Now, we did have ES did a really great job last week of holding above the halfback, above that prior week's halfback, prior week's VWAP close, prior week's value area low, all that sort of stuff. It managed to get a breakout on this Tuesday session. However, that was very short-lived. We fell back below that 41.88 number, and that capped us. That turned into a downtrend for the rest of the week. We had a similar thing over on the NQ, getting that breakout and then creating a downtrend instead. And the NQ remaining very distributive. It couldn't even reach that 13,311.50, that Q1 high number during that gap up session, and then falling below this 13,200 critical level that we've seen, and then it's going lower and lower. Notably, it did manage to hold a bit at 13K roughly, and then close back around this kind of 13,100 area. Now, going back to the ES, it's important to note that we've only had a 100-point range this month, and we just closed out the third week of the month. On average, we have a 250-point range per month. The VIX currently is trading at, kind of the lower bound, around 16 to 17 of our recent years. And on top of that, we have all of these wonderful earnings coming out this week. Starting Tuesday, Microsoft, Google. After that, you got Facebook on Wednesday. Thursday, what do you have? Amazon. Friday. Every single day you've got some sort of major earnings coming out, and of course, Crocs, the most important one. So major earnings every single session. So that is something to note, that not only do we have VIX very low, we also have earnings coming out. We also, news-wise, let's get into this. News-wise, we've got GDP on Thursday, quarter over quarter. And then we've got some other stuff throughout the week, but that's going to be the big one on Thursday. So I think we have quite a few qualifiers for a breakout, not only in terms of the earnings, the VIX, and the news, but also that we've only traded that 100-point range in 3 weeks, and now it looks like we should get the rest of that 150-point range. Now, is that to the upside or to the downside? Well, I'm happy I'm a day trader, so I don't have to figure out the answer to that question. But what I can note is that this trend line coming off of, it was created during that March low, and then we ramped up very aggressively. We held the lows of it. Now we're down below it. We've lost that upward momentum, and we've created a new downward trend line, if you want to call it that. You can just connect it something like this. You can see we're just trending down in general. So to me, shorts have to get a flush going pretty quickly. Otherwise, it won't be hard to get a short squeeze instead to the upside. So I want to see this start to flush quite soon. Just looking at my notes here. Yeah. Yeah, that's how I'm kind of looking at the ES, is that, we did a great job holding that, what is that, the quarterly close at 41.38. We did a great job holding that once on Thursday, kind of tried to run it on Friday, were unable to do so. Then we ended up with that monthly OPEX bullshit into the close, just that very consolidative churn. So this is going to be the key zone to see if we can flush, and if we can, I know there's some trapped shorts there at 41.30 to 32 that might offer some sort of intraday trade. However, it will take some effort to get back above this clump here and get into the idea of rallying towards 41.71 or 82-ish. So that is a scenario that you look down below and come back inside, rally to the top, and see if you can get a breakout up here. However, I think more so, this is still a bear market. So I am a little more, I do lean a little more to the downside, and I think we'll go ahead and test this 41.10-ish area, and if we lose that, I think we can really start looking at more so that old gap close at 4,009, that quarterly VWAP close last quarter at 40.14 kind of the origin of this breakout here. I am aware that our major demand zone was also 40.82, so I think this will be a really great week to just trade day by day. The reason I'm also a little more biased to the downside is because of the NQ. Switching over here to the weekly chart, same idea, but just much, much more distributive. As we've seen, we've not been able to tag this Q1 high pretty much since that Tuesday session, only a couple days after we made that. So ever since then, we couldn't tag it during this gap up session last week. It created that trend down, got below this 13,200 level, which was just imperative multiple times holding the offer, and now we're just moving our way down. I think we might be headed to that 13,000 or 12,777 area, that gap close number, and after that, I think it'll be hard to once again breach this large amount of volume, this monthly point of control, wherever that has ended up being, 13,070-ish, I think. So I am biased to the downside. I'm quite biased to the downside. I think tech has had a great run here, but it's just been looking distributive this entire time. And I was just pointing this out to a friend that, we're still just bouncing above this February high here, this 950-ish number. We've just been bouncing around it for days now. Days and days and days. This entire month just bouncing above it. And, we never got a tag of that 2022 halfback at 13,498. We never got a tag of that. So until we start trading above there, and okay, if we start to balance above there, I could see higher prices. But for now, we're balancing above February's highs, but we're below the major number of 498. So to me, any sort of balance just looks like distribution, and we can come back lower down to, whatever, 12,500 or 11,850-ish. So that's how I'm looking at the ES and NQ for now. I'm not too bullish on it. I think this week will be a great week to just trade it day for today. I'd be surprised if we don't get a breakout sometime this week. Again, the ES is only traded 100 points, and we're used to a 150-point range per month. It'd be very odd not to get it. To the downside, let's go back to the ES for a second. To the downside, this area is going to be very, very critical to me. 95% of the volume done last week was in a 40-point range. It was done between whatever that is, 39.5 to 39.5 to 83s, I think, something like that. That's where 95% of our volume was done, in that small range. And because of that, the VWAP deviations are also small on the week. The third standard deviation of VWAP to the downside is only at 41.26. Kind of, a little bit below the bottom of this zone. So, to me, when you have so much volume done in a tight range and you have this aggressive downtrend occurring, and same thing on the NQ, we don't have to keep going back and forth. It just makes the likelihood of a breakout higher and higher. So, what I'll be looking for is a quieter Monday session per usual, no news, no major earnings. So I think I wouldn't be surprised if we salvage the lows here around 38 to 43-ish, kind of where we're trading right now, actually. I wouldn't be surprised if we salvage the lows and kind of creep our way back up to 41.56-ish, where we closed last week, and then make our way up towards the highs of balance around 41.75. But I'm expecting a quieter Monday and Tuesday session, then we can really start to see if we get a breakout going on Wednesday or Thursday. So I know it's not the most informative video this week, but I just think it'd be notable to not really look to aggressively fade the edges this week. I think instead we'll get our nice breakout week, and we can see some either liquidation to the downside or some major short squeeze to the upside. So anyway, that's how I'm looking at these guys this week. We've consolidated quite a bit. We've had our tightening of ranges. I think that it's time to get some range expansion. Hope that helps. Hope that makes sense. And I'll go ahead and put out those daily videos as well. So have a great night.